Hello everyone, welcome to the Pushing Horizon podcast. This is your host Ash. When I think about 200 miles, I don't think about pace or speeds. I think about that moment when your body has nothing left to give and your mind starts negotiating. The part where quitting feels logical, even responsible at times. I've been in races where stopping would be much easier to explain than continuing. And that's the space this episode lives in. Because at some point, endurance stops being about physical, it becomes personal. Today's conversation is with someone who doesn't just run long distances, but understands how to stay present inside them. When the noise gets louder, when the excitement fades, when it's just you, the dark, and one more step that doesn't want to happen. We talk about what it really takes to survive 200 miles, not the Instagram version. The quiet decisions, the self doubt, the patience, the mindset that keeps you moving when there is no guaranteed reward at the end. This episode isn't about being fearless or invincible, it's about learning how to stay when leaving would be easier, about trusting yourself when everything feels uncertain, and about the kind of strength that doesn't announce itself but just shows up. If you have ever wondered how far can you go when you are empty, this episode is for you. So in that note, please let me introduce your guest today. Here is Annie. Hey Annie, welcome to the podcast and this will be a good conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
We were talking a little bit back and forth trying to get this sorted out. I know you briefly and you are pretty well known in the ultra running world, but for the folks who don't know who Annie is, how would you introduce yourself?
Oh, my name is Annie Hughes, and I'm an ultra runner for Hoka. I'm based out of Buena Vista, Colorado.
And now going back to yourself, you said you are an ultra runner.
Mhm.
And I don't know how your transition happened. Were you a runner before 5K, 10K, half marathon, and then ultra running? Is that the same transition that you have?
So I've been a runner. I started running when I was in middle school, and it was the only sport that I was really good at. And I sort of discovered it during the mile fitness test in gym class. Here in the US, we have this national fitness test that all the schools have to participate in. And you have to run a mile as fast as you can. And yeah, and I ended up beating everyone in my class, including the boys. And so I thought that was pretty cool, especially because I was just terrible at any sport we would play that involved a ball. And so I just grew up with this belief about myself, I guess, that I just wasn't athletic. And so I didn't grow up doing sports before that, but I always really enjoyed being active and outside, like, I was always running around playing, like making up my own games and stuff, and just really love to be active. I think it paired really well because it was just something that I was good at and filled that love of like just being active and outside.
That is awesome. They like beat all the boys. That's nice.
Yeah, everyone was like shocked because I was just like the worst at everything else. So we just come out of nowhere and beat some of the most athletic boys. It was really cool.
And when did this journey for ultra running came in your life? You ran, you said from the middle school. So did it gradually come into the ultra running slowly, or you
Yeah.
just jumped at it?
Yeah, so I always really gravitated more towards the longer distances. So I always ran like the longest distance they offered in middle school, high school, college. I did the mile was the longest in middle school, and then the 2 mile in high school. Everyone thought I was so crazy for running the 2 mile, which looking back at that now, it's like nothing. But
Nothing. Yeah.
um yeah, and then in college, I ran cross country and track, and the longest I did was a 5K on the track, but I really wanted to do the 10K. But the coach wanted me to wait another year before moving up to that distance. And then I ended up discovering ultra running, uh, yeah, during college. And so I actually quit the team to pursue mountains and trail running, ultra running. I just started hiking some of the 14,000-foot peaks in Colorado. There's 58 of them. And I just became pretty obsessed with that goal and climbed them all. So that's kind of how I started. I was really just like hiking in the mountains and really enjoyed that. But I also really love to run. And so ultra running was kind of the perfect mix of both of those things. Like I can explore beautiful mountains and also run. And yeah, it's kind of the perfect combo.
It is. And when did this transition happen? You said you did try to do almost the max distances that were allowed to you, and then you start doing the hiking, backpacking trip, and then there is this ultra running where you are a paid profession to do it now. So when did this transition happen for you? From where you're like, oh, let me just go and have fun in this ultra running, to that when you're like, right now you're competitive and you are competing against everybody from around the world. So when did you decide that, okay, I think I can win the distances and I can be compete against best of the world?
It was super random coincidence or just like how it all happened. But I was living in Leadville, Colorado, which is a pretty well-known town just with the Leadville 100 there. And it's the highest incorporated city in the US. So it sits at 10,000 feet. So it's pretty high altitude. And I moved there when I was in college. I finished college there just because I thought it would be a good place to get into ultra running. And I just always really liked that town. It's only 40 minutes away from the town where I graduated high school. So yeah, I moved there and was just kind of dabbling in ultras. I think the month after I moved there, I ran the Silver Rush 50 miler, which is part of the Leadville 100 race series. And I ended up getting third, and I got this gold coin. They give you a gold coin to get into the 100 miler. And that 50 just felt like the hardest thing I'd ever done. So I couldn't imagine doing 100 miles, but I really wanted to do the 100. So I was planning to do it the next year, 2020, and then it ended up getting canceled. So I didn't end up running it until 2021. But before I ran Leadville, I did some FKTs. I did this 160-mile FKT on the collegiate loop. And Courtney DeWalter has since broken my record and the men's record by like a whole day. But it was a big deal for me at the time. And I had never done anything that long. I had done 100 miler before I did that FKT. And then I just did some other like kind of big mountain challenges on my own, like running from Leadville to the top of the two tallest 14ers in Colorado and back, Massive and Albert. And it's kind of cool because it's like the whole skyline, mountain skyline you can see from Leadville. And so it was kind of fun challenge to run from town up to the top of both of them and then back. I think it was like 50 miles. But there's this man in Leadville who has a house there and he writes for Trail Runner magazine. And he had just heard of some of the runs I was doing, like the FKT and the Leadville Skyline run. And he wanted to write an article about me. And I don't know. At first I was like, I don't really know. I didn't think I was like that interesting or anything. I was just doing it for fun, not really thinking anything of it. But yeah, I agreed to do the interview for the article. And yeah, mid-interview, he asked me what shoes I wore, and I was like, "Oh, I wear Hoka's." And he's like, "Oh, I know people at Hoka. Like, I'll tell them about you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I don't think they're gonna be interested. Like, I mean, I had a few results, but they weren't like, high caliber races or anything. And yeah, so it was just kind of happenstance. And yeah, we went through the rest of the interview, and I just totally forgot about that. And yeah, I guess it was a couple weeks later that I got an email in my inbox from the athlete manager at Hoka, and she wanted to set up a call. And so she's like, "Yeah, I'd love to interview you for like a spot in our athlete team." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I don't know, because like growing up, I kind of knew where I stood. Like I was good for my team. Like I was always like one of the top runners on my team, but and I was like decent at the state level, but yeah, anything above like I wasn't, national caliber or anything. So I kind of knew like after college I'm not going to run professionally or anything. It'll just be for fun. And yeah, so this was just kind of like a crazy opportunity. And yeah, I interviewed and she was like, "Would you be interested in racing more?" She says, "I think you'd be a really good fit for our team and you have a lot of potential." And so my first contract, I couldn't live off of it, but like all of my racing was free, which was huge because ultras are so
It's
expensive.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like a poor college student, like working at a restaurant in Leadville. So it just like opened up these like all these doors to like race a lot more. And then I ended up winning Leadville that like right after I signed my contract with Hoka and then also Moab 240. And so I just had like a pretty good season. Like it just worked out. Like right after I signed the contract, I had a couple of good races. But it was really after I yeah, usually it's the other way around. Like you have some good results and then you get sponsored. But for me, I like didn't really have any results and they were just kind of taking this gamble on me. And yeah, and then it kind of opened up these doors to race more. And then yeah, it gave me this reason to kind of push myself more and kind of see what I could do and if I could be more competitive. And yeah, I'm super grateful for this opportunity because it's just something I never would have yeah, dreamed I'd be doing.
There is a saying that always say yes to the opportunities because you don't know what they might lead to. So if you have never said yes to the interviews, then who knows what would have happened. So I think
Yeah.
your courage to say yes to things has led you to where you are right now. And how did it felt when you won Leadville, because you were the youngest woman to win it, right? And then you won the more up to 40. So how was that feeling when you went and when you win these big events?
Yeah, winning Leadville was just so wild. Like I was pretty emotional like, at the finish, just because I think I was just really tired. I didn't eat enough, so that probably played into it. But yeah, it really meant a lot to me, just because I think I had lived there for a couple of years at that point before the race. So like I knew a lot of people in the community at that point, and just to see a lot of my friends out on the course cheering me on was really special. So yeah, that just it meant a lot to me just to right after getting sponsored, because I don't know, I kind of had some imposter syndrome around it. I was like, I don't know, I really haven't done anything to really deserve this, and I just yeah, I don't know. That kind of gave me more confidence. Like, okay, I won this race, and now maybe I can, yeah, feel like I deserve it a little bit more.
Definitely. And like I said, you were the youngest woman to win. And when you think about the age that you won that, you were 23. And at that moment, people are figuring out marathons. Like, oh, which marathon should I do? Marathon is perfect for me. It's not too much, but you dove directly into 200-mile races. So what made you decide that, okay, that 240-mile Moab is fascinating?
Oh, I had heard about that race like a bit before I got into ultra running. And I heard, the famous story of, Courtney Dauwalter winning it overall. And yeah, I feel like when she won that race, it just really, like, so many people got into ultra running after that because it was just such an inspiring performance and just so, I mean, I'd never heard of 200 plus mile race. Like, that just seemed so crazy. But yeah, kind of like I was saying before, like, I've always just loved the longer distances. Like, I've just always gravitated to longer. But it's funny because I actually have never run a marathon. I went straight from college, 5Ks to a 55K, and then just sort of kept going up from there. So I did like a 50 miler and then 100 miler, and then I went for Moab. But yeah, Moab was just a really inspiring race to me. Like I just was really curious, like what it would be like to run that far. And Moab wasn't too far from Leadville. It's like 4.5 hours. So I feel like, yeah, it just seemed like a pretty feasible yeah, first 200 to do since it was nearby and I could, go down there and for a couple training weekends and see some of the course. So, yeah, I guess I was inspired by that race because of hearing about it from Courtney and then just I think it's a beautiful, beautiful course. I think Moab is a really special area and I've done a lot of different races there. So, yeah, and I love a good loop. Like it's so cool that you just get to see so many different parts of Moab, like down in the desert area and then up to the mountains and all the way back. It's just looked really aesthetically pleasing on a map too. So yeah, I just wanted to see if I could do it.
How did it feel to have yourself as a winner, as a Courtney? When people speak about who won Mohab, then it's Annie also won it. So how does it feel for you to have your name taken in a such hard regard? Because it's a very tough challenge. 240 miles is not a joke. And then, like you said, there is a desert and there is mountain, so it has all higher and lower elevation things. So how does it feel? How did it feel after you finished it? And did you realize that what you have just done, or did it just hit you after a few days?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the anywhere near Courtney's performance, but I think it might have been the second fastest time to hers. So that was cool for me, but
Impressive, impressive.
thank you. But yeah, honestly, I was just really thrilled to finish it. Like I'd never done anything close to that. So I mean, I did the 160-mile collegiate loop, and that took me 61 hours. And so I figured I was like, okay, if I can do, if I can run for 61 hours, I can probably try 200. And also at the collegiate loop, like I organized the whole thing myself, as an FKT. So there was a lot of like logistical planning that I didn't really know what I was doing. It worked out, but I definitely, there were some kinks in there with the logistics. And so to have a race that's like, all planned out with the aid stations, like it took a lot of the stress off me. Um, and then I think I finished Moab in like 68 hours. So yeah, it was similar to the collegiate loop. Like at least I had gone through 2 nights before, so I kind of knew what that was like. But yeah, I feel like in those first couple of years, I was just really experimenting with different distances. Like um, I tried the 50K, I wanted to try the 50 miler, and just kind of kept going up because I was just curious to see what it would be like. And then, yeah, after I got signed with Hoka, I kind of wanted to see if I could be competitive. So, yeah, I was definitely trying to be competitive at Moab, but also just love that adventure aspect of it and just wanted to see if I could even do it.
And it is fun. I don't know. Running 240 miles is fun, but uh, the aspect is fun. And you have done so many races, right? And when you do more up to 40, you said you ran it at 60 out, which is impressive because you said you just did FKTs. That was 160 mile, and that was around 61 hours. So you were pretty wicked fast to do the Moab. Did you have any low points when you did the Moab, when you felt like, oh God, I can keep going? I'm tired, exhausted. This
Oh, yeah, for
sucks.
sure. Yeah, for sure. And, it's easy to get overwhelmed with like how far you have left to go. Like sometimes you're just in this horrible low point and you still have, over 100 miles left to go. And that can be really daunting. And it's been a pretty long time now. So I can't like specifically remember where my lows were. But yeah, I remember, yeah, just being overwhelmed a couple times with like how far I had left to go and how low I was feeling. But I just kind of broke it up into some smaller goals. I was like, okay, I just need to get to the aid station where I can see my crew and then I'll regroup and then I'll feel better. And I don't know, looking back, I don't think I ate enough. So I remember being really emotional, like the second to last section, like my feet hurt really bad and I was just like bawling my eyes out because I was just having a really hard time. Like now that's coming back to me. But and then the very last section, it's pretty technical, and I finished in the middle of the night, and so I was going into like the third night, I think. And yeah, I remember all the weird rock formations looked like I was just hallucinating and seeing buildings and weird buildings and stuff. And had to stop and nap a couple times on the side of the trail. Yeah, I remember like the very last bit was just like really hard to get through.
When you are going through that low phases, right? So now you have so much experience compared to back then, because back then you were just starting and doing the distances. Now, when you go through these low phases, do you have any mantras that you play in your head and then go over, I can do this, and just use those phrases to go and make you push through all those dark spots that you have right now?
I think my biggest one is the only way out is through. And I sort of think about it as like when I step across the starting line, I'm like stepping into this like tunnel and there's no way out other than the finish line. And I think about that like so much during the race. Okay, like I'm in the tunnel. I can't get out unless I finish. So it's almost like, it's not an option not to finish and like not even giving myself the option like before the race. Obviously, like if I have some injury or if something happens, it's like detrimental to my health, I would stop. But yeah, I think that helps me a lot mentally when I'm just like overwhelmed if I, in, just questioning if I can even do it. It's like, okay, there's no choice but to do it. So we just have to problem solve and figure out how we're going to. So yeah, that's kind of the mentality I take into these long ones.
I like it. Only way forward is through. So that is like a new mantra now for me to use
Oh,
it on
good.
my running journey as well. So I've been picking up things while I've been talking to different folks. I think I did my first ultra last August, and it was hard, physically hardest thing I've ever done.
Oh,
Living in Berlin, I thought I knew heels, right? But God, no, it was the toughest hill I saw, and then I thought I knew downhill, and then there was 16 kilometers of downhill, which I've never run before, seen before. So
oh
it
my
was like
gosh.
yeah, it was. I now know what hills looks like. So that was
Yeah.
like,
Oh my gosh, what
and
an adventure.
oh yeah, oh my God, yeah, it was the hardest thing. I don't think people realize it that when we just look at elevation, let's say thousand, it was 1,000 meter of elevation for 56K,
Mhm,
and you don't think it is a lot, but
mhm.
no, that is a lot because I've never run through that distance, that elevation before. I think the most I did was like 400 in a run, and I didn't think it was too much, but it was so technical, and my quad was done after 16 kilometer downhill, and I was so stupid because I wanted to run faster, like a rookie mistake, the marathon mindset where you try to run faster on the downhill, and
Yeah.
it completely blew me up. So
Oh my gosh, downhills are brutal. And
it
especially
is,
if
yeah.
it's technical. I feel like that's something the map doesn't show either is just the technicality of the trail. Like it can look pretty easy on paper and then you get there and it's just like all rocks, like big
Oh
rocks you
yeah,
have to
rocks and
Yeah.
branches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I know, at least now I can imagine, and now I can understand like how much is the elevation, because if it is 2,000 meters, then I know that it's going to be much more difficult than what I just did, and so I need to prepare it myself. But that was like eye opening because when I was training, I did elevation and I thought I know hills, so I was running hills. I'm in Berlin, so we don't have that kind of elevation here. These hills is hard. I do it, and but there was like a and and I and there was one section I remember. It was after like halfway through, after around 25-30 kilometers, and it was the hardest technical thing, and it's all the way up, and people, it's with rocks and stuff, and people are walking and everything, and I was like, this is bullshit. I studied in the middle. I was like, this is bullshit. This is not ending. and and it was horrible.
Oh my
It was horrible.
gosh.
And someone told me it's 3 kilometers, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't thought I was finish it because I barely made it. And then when I was coming down, it was so technical. The mud was all loose. The soil was loose, and my quad stopped moving even to walk. And I was like, I don't think I can do it because I still need to do another 500 meters of elevation. And then I remember the episode with JC. She said, if you quit now, you can't go back, and quitting is forever. So that just kept me going, and I just started making like a small mini goals, 30 steps running and then 15 steps walking. So that way I just went through that phase, and
Yeah.
then I was able to go through. But yeah, it was like and each episodes give me something to use, I think. But then I DNF Berlin Marathon, so that didn't work as well.
Oh, you did? Do you know?
Yeah, I was I was sick a couple of days before. I had
Oh,
allergies, fever, and everything. And my cousin came from US and just for the Berlin Marathon, and I didn't know if I would start. So I told my him and my brother that I would decide the day of the marathon that if I am gonna do it. So I took the medication before ibuprofen and stuff. So fever was not there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do it. And after 21 kilometers, it was like it started moving, and I was like, okay. And it was one of the hottest day I think we have, and it was too much. So after 21 kilometer, my everything was moving, dizzy. But I slowed down, sat down, and then I moved up to 24. And then I was like, okay, I saw the train station. I was like, okay, I cannot go more through. So I just was like, okay, I'm out, I'm done. I texted my cousins, everybody, okay, I'm dropping out because I can't, I think I might faint. So it's better to just not go through that. I don't know what will happen if I might get caught and stuff. So I was like, okay. I think the train stop made it worse because it was so convenient. It was right
yeah. It's
there.
like, oh, there's the perfect out. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's so nice to have all these conversation with different people, and then you just gave me like only way is forward. So next time if something happens, then it's so much easier. And this is and there's so many other sorry like mantras and stuff that I have picked up. I think it's easier to do it when you are running ultra marathon than marathon. I don't. That day was I was just my mindset was not too good too because I was sick and I was not sure.
uh,
I should have just not run. And now I think about it, I should have just stopped it and not run. But it is what it
that's
is.
a great learning experience, and you can take that into your next ultra, and it'll make you stronger. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like every experience where you put yourself out there and try something hard, there's so much to gain from that. So that's
Next
awesome that
time,
you went for it.
yes. Oh, yeah. Put it revenge for next year. I said I would. This would be my last marathon because I don't like the training at all. Last year I did it as well, and last year when I did it, I wanted to run faster. So I was training so hard for 6 months, and then I got injured right before the marathon, and that also
Oh,
went kaput after 30 kilometers. So I finished it, but that was because I had goals. But I was not happy with it,
wow.
and it was so sad because I trained for so long and got injured, and then I didn't like training. It felt like a job, and
Mhm.
and when I was training for this ultra marathon block, it was so easy because I didn't once look at my split. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, it's so much
yeah,
less calculated than marathon training, and you get to
yeah,
explore so many beautiful places, and I think it's, yeah, way more enjoyable from
yes,
that standpoint. Yeah.
yeah, and I love that feeling. And I said this is gonna be my last marathon, but I still have to finish next year now because I want to quit on a high and not quit it because I had to DNF. So one more distances. And
Yeah.
talking about you never had a DNF. And do you think it is because of the mantra that you have where you don't give up when you have to face hard situations?
Think so, yeah, and I mean, I haven't had anything yet, knock on wood. I'm sure it'll happen eventually. Like, I haven't had anything that's, like, gone so terribly wrong that I've had to drop out, so I think it's, like, a bit of luck as well. Like, I've definitely pushed through some things, and, like, I've definitely come close to DNFing a couple times. I had some things happen, but yeah, I don't know, I think I just go into every race like, "Okay, I'm not gonna DNF unless I, like, physically, like, can't make it to the finish line, or it's, like, detrimental to my health, or I have, like, a terrible injury where it's, yeah, not gonna be good to keep running on it." So, yeah, I haven't had any of those things happen. But I feel like the mental aspect, like, I definitely have times where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this." Like, no matter how long it is, I feel like there's always a point where it's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so hard. How am I gonna do this?" But yeah, I try to, like, yeah, think about that mantra, like, okay, like, there's no choice but to finish, or, just breaking it up into those smaller goals, like you said, okay, just take 20 steps. And just thinking about how I'll feel if I don't finish. I think I don't know. And I kind of want to put my DNF off for as long as I can because I know it's like easier to DNF when you've done it before. Like it's easier mentally to kind of
Yeah.
talk yourself into it. So yeah, I think that's why I want to try to put it off for as long as I can.
And if you go back and look at your journey so far, right? So you have done Moab, Leadville, Tahoe, which has been, and other races too. Which has been your favorite one?
Oh, my favorite race by far has been the Swiss Peaks 360K. It's this really, really cool race in Switzerland, and it's point to point. So you start this little mountain town up in the mountains, and then you run across all these mountains, like down into all these little mountain towns, and then you end up down at Lake Geneva at the end. So it's really cool looking on a map too. And the course is just stunning, and the people were so wonderful. Like all the volunteers was just really well organized, and the food was so good. They like serve raclette at a lot of the aid stations, and yeah, it was just brutally hard. Like I thought that was way harder than the Tour de Géant. So yeah, I really love that race, and it was just such a new experience for me. Like that was my first international race. I just done a lot of the 200s in the US, but that was like a totally new and different experience for me. And the mountains are just so much harder and steeper and longer there. And yeah, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was so hard. Never experienced mountains like that before. But yeah, that was just a really special experience for me. So I'd really love to go back and do that race. And then they just introduced a 700K with a ton of vert. I don't know what it is in meters, but I know it's like over 100,000 feet of climbing. And I don't know. I really want to try and see if I can do that one.
100,000. That is a lot. I was crying with 100
Yeah.
meters, 1,000 meters.
Yeah, it's just a different mindset. But yeah, I really loved that race. So
And which one gave you the toughest was? Which one of the toughest you're like, oh God, this sucks.
oh, it was yeah, also Swiss Peaks. Yeah. That was by far like the hardest race I've ever done. The climbs are I don't know, each one it was just like these standalone climbs and it was like town to town. So you like climb up 6 or 7 thousand feet and then you descend 6 or 7 thousand feet and then go into the next town and then you climb 6 or 7 thousand feet down. I mean, it was just crazy. I've never, like in Colorado, the most you can really gain is 4 or 5 thousand feet. Not even because you just start so much higher. Whereas there, like, yeah, you start at a pretty low elevation and then the mountains just shoot up forever. So, yeah, we don't have any climbs or descents that last that long, and I remember the descents being even harder than the climbs. I mean,
Yeah.
the climbs are just hard, they're exhausting, takes forever, but, the descents, like, just, are just, like, killing my body. Like, the all the impact, it's just so steep, you could barely run, and yeah, it was brutal, but really beautiful and just yeah, a really cool experience.
People don't realize it. Down descent is the hardest thing you can do. Is you
Yeah.
cannot unless you know how to glide. It it is a very hard thing to practice too because your quad's gonna wank up anytime soon because it takes so much load, and you
Yeah.
can only do so much. And if you do, for instance, for the race, so up is easier, like you can walk whatever, but you go 6,000 up and down 6,000, and then if you do that three times, then that's oh my 18,000 up down, and that's it's
Yeah.
no, that is hard thing to do for me. That's what I done. It was I don't know 6,000 meter is I don't know how much kilometer is that downhill. Probably a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and just I think it's hard on your feet too, like, just the all the impact on your feet and, they kinda slide in your shoes, so, like, I had some blister problems and yeah, those descents are really on your body, and I don't know, I feel like I'm stronger in the uphill, the downhill. I feel like I'm a little too cautious on the downhill. And then I just went through a pretty major ankle surgery all of last year. And yeah, coming back from that, like just trusting myself again on downhills, I feel like I need to like relearn how to run technical downhills quickly because yeah, I just feel like I'm a little too cautious.
Yeah,
And that part is hard too.
especially with injury, because it's the anxious moment whenever
Mm.
if you have an injury, then you always the first foot down or the first technical downhill, and it's just like, oh
Yeah,
god,
I know.
what if I tweak it? And then the
Yeah, what if I
slight
roll my ankle?
yeah, and then
Yeah,
the slight pain is just, oh god, it's back.
yeah, for sure.
And when you were talking about running, it is so much a physical thing only, because you can train as much as you can, but you have to be mentally much more tougher than your body. So how do you mentally prepare yourself when you're doing, for example, the Swiss peak, where you said you have never run such a word before? How did you prepare yourself?
Ah, yeah, that's a good question because I feel like you just need to go into it like feeling, just calm, like kind of stress free. So I try to, and then another thing about those races is like there's so many unknowns and just only so much you can control. So that also kind of gives me a sense of peace in a way because it's like, well, there's only so much I can do. So you just kind of have to go into it with this, yeah, kind of just calm mentality, like, we'll just see what happens. And, just prepare as much as you can. So just try to, yeah, be really organized and have all my stuff ready and that kind of thing. And then, yeah, just going into it with like, okay, we're doing this no matter what. And then, like, I don't really know how I'm going to do this. Like, it looks really daunting, but we're just going to do it. We're not going to think about it too hard. And then, yeah, just breaking it into those smaller goals. And then also knowing that, this low moment will, pass eventually. Cause in those long ones, you just go through so many ups and downs. So I always try to remind myself, like, okay, this will pass. And another big thing is, you're going through multiple days and nights, and the nights can get pretty hard. So just reminding myself, okay, when the sun comes up, like, I'm gonna feel so much better. I just need to make it there. But yeah, I think the nights and the sleep deprivation are probably the hardest part of those races. Yeah, it's just pretty uncomfortable to yeah run so sleep deprived. But at least for me, like that's the hardest thing.
It is, I've talked
But
to 6 folks who did Kokorona, and each of their story is interesting, I would say, because it's so fascinating, because all of them ran the same distances, and the sleep pattern, the fueling, the time they finished, and everything is so much difference across all of them. And if you look at your races, so has there been any moment in any of the races where you feel something changed inside you, spiritually, emotionally, have made you toughen up?
oh, um, oh gosh, that's a good question. Yeah, I feel like I can't think of a specific moment, but I feel like a lot of times I have a lot of my lowest moments in the night, somewhere around like 3 a.m. And so, yeah, I feel like when the sun comes up, that always like just gives me like a boost of energy and kind of yeah, gives me kind of like the fire I needed to like keep going. And then yeah, it's crazy how you can go through these periods during those races where it's like, oh my gosh, like my body just feels horrible and you're just like in this little pity party for yourself. But then, you can stop at an aid station and have some food and sit down for a second and leave and like all of a sudden you feel like fresh again. Like I've had that happen so many times in races. I'm like, my legs feel amazing. And I'm like so deep into this race. So I don't know. I think there's a mental aspect too to like the way your body is feeling. And I really do think like your thoughts can manifest physically. So just, trying to sometimes it's frustrating too, because it's like I know the thoughts I should be thinking, but it's really because like my brain's just so consumed with like how hard this is and like how painful and how much longer I have to go. So that can be frustrating too when you're like, I know I need to be breaking it into smaller goals. I know I need to be thinking more positive, but it's just really hard right now. But yeah, just trying to stay as positive as you can. And yeah, also validating yourself when it does get hard. It's like, yeah, this is a hard thing that I'm doing so that you feel like, yeah, validated for the thoughts and feelings you're having, but then also like kind of pushing past that and like trying to stay positive.
And in this thought, so has there been any races that you have done or moment in your journey so far where you have felt like this, but then ended up winning it or coming out very strong at the end?
I feel like this year at Tahoe 200, I had a really, for some reason, this year, I've just been having rough second nights. And yeah, I had a really rough second night at Tahoe. I think I just got behind on calories and I got really sleepy. Yeah, I was just slowing down quite a bit. And then it was this long out and back section. So when you get to the end of the out and back, you have 70 miles left to go in the race. And I got to that aid station, and that was an aid station where I could see my crew. And I just really wanted to take a nap there. Like it was, middle of the night. I, had slowed down so much in that section because I was just so sleepy and yeah, got behind on calories. So that was also playing into it. But my crew was trying to get me out quickly because there was a girl kind of gaining on me. And in that moment, I was just like, I don't even care. Like she's gaining on me. Like I just need to sleep. But they kind of, yeah, pushed me out. And then, yeah, I didn't feel like great for the rest of the night. But I remember thinking, okay, I just need to get to the sunrise and I'm going to see my crew again. And then by that time, maybe I can sort of like smell the finish line. Because by that time, I think I had like 100K left to go. So that was a little bit more mentally, like I could grasp that a little bit more than, 70 miles. Or no, I guess it would be 50 miles I had left to go. So yeah, that was easier to grasp than like 70. So yeah, I got to that aid station where the sun came up and saw my crew and left that aid station. I was like, okay, I'm ready to like really push hard to the finish. So yeah, I had a really great last day and then yeah, finished that evening and made up a bunch of time on my competition. So because they were really gaining on me, yeah, that night and was able to kind of like pull it back together the last day and finish strong. But yeah, those nights can be really tough. And it's easy to fall into the mental spiral of it all.
Yeah, I cannot even imagine. It's I don't know how would I even do, but that's the goal is to go to the long distance. It will be interesting transition. And this Tahoe was right after your surgery, right? And then you had to take such a time off. How did it felt when you won Tahoe 200 right after the injury?
It was really special for me because I had done this whole season has just kind of been about like reintroducing my body to the ultra distances again. And so in February I did the Black Canyon 100K, which is a really solid race for me. I felt like I did well there, but it's also, such a competitive race and it's not really like my type of race. It's really flat 100K in the desert. And I like, longer mountainous type races. So, but yeah, I just needed something to kind of get back into ultras. And I felt like it was just a good time of year because I started training again in October last year. So I was like, okay, that's a reasonable amount of time to like feel, fit and ready to do my first race back. And yeah, so I had a really solid like winter training, like building back really slow. And yeah, I just felt like, okay, 100K, that's, a good distance to start with. And, it's flat, it's fast, it's one day. I'm not going to go through the night. So it was just mentally like, okay, I can wrap my head around this. It didn't feel like too daunting. And yeah, it was a solid race for me, but nothing like spectacular. And then I did my first 100 miler back at Canyons 100. And it was also just like a good time of year. And I had kind of a rough race the year or a couple of years before I did the 100 miler. And it was just like, it happened to be a really hot year. And I just really struggled with the heat there. So I wanted to go back and just see if I could do better. I ended up not doing better. It was just like I got sick the week of the race. And I was sort of, I wasn't contagious anymore by the time race day came around, but I was just like coughing and I don't know, I just felt so horrible. And yeah, my quads also like blew up. I don't think I had done enough like mountain training for that race because it's just hard to get vert in the winter here with all the snow and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, my legs have never felt more terrible and mentally I was just spiraling and yeah, I basically just kind of death marched it in the last 40 miles. Um, but I wanted to finish because it was like my first 100 miler back. And yeah, so that was a pretty terrible experience. And I was pretty down on myself after that. I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back to where I was. Like, yeah, it was just, yeah, it's just hard coming back after all that time. So Tahoe, I took a lot of the pressure off. I don't know, that's just a race I'm really passionate about. I felt passionate about because it's just a race I've always wanted to do, and I was just really excited about it. Canyons and Black Canyon, I wasn't like, I didn't feel like that passionate about either of them. Like, I don't know, it was just more about like getting some race experience back. But this one I was like genuinely really excited about, and I think that also played into some of my success there. It was just like I was really like excited to be there and my heart was like in the race. So yeah, like winning that meant a lot to me because it was like, my first 200 back and I didn't feel my ankle at all during the race. So like that was huge. And yeah, just to feel like, okay, I feel like I had a good race. Like I'm not, the injury didn't totally ruin me. So yeah, that was huge for me.
Have you ever thought about triple crown domination? I talked with Killian. His episode came last week, and he is obviously right now dominating all the 200 competitions. So, have you ever thought about doing the same thing, triple crown, and then going and dominating it?
Yeah, I was signed up for the Triple Crown the year I got injured, 2024. That was my goal. I was gonna do the Triple Crown and then ended up having surgery instead and didn't race at all that year. So yeah, I'd really love to go do that challenge eventually. But I don't know. I think the European 200s have kind of ruined me. Like I just Oh, they're just such cool races, and yeah, it's kind of hard to race at all in the US after racing over there. Like the mountains are just so beautiful, like it's so well organized, and yeah, just the courses are much more challenging, and yeah, I don't know, it's a really cool atmosphere too. I would definitely like to do that eventually, but I think I'm just more excited about like Swiss Peaks and Tour de Géant, those types of races right now.
In that note, so what is next for you? Are you looking for another FTKs, 500 milers?
Yeah, so my qualifying or my time at Tour de Géant qualified me for Tour de Glacier, which is the 450K. And I don't know, that race just looks really cool because it's basically the Tour de Géant, but they make it a little bit harder and longer. So you follow the Tour de Géant course for the most part, but then it takes these like detours and you go up like really close to the glaciers. It's like much higher mountain passes, and then it's also not marked. So you have to like navigate that all of yourself. And so just the adventure aspect of it looks really cool and intriguing to me too. And I don't know, it looks really hard. Like I have no idea if I can even do something like that. So yeah, I guess I'm just kind of curious. I just want to try and see if I can do it, especially since I got the qualifying time. Yeah, I just would like to see if I could do it. And then I'd also really love to do the 700K at Swiss Peaks. So I think, yeah, moving forward, I kind of want to try some longer distances, like even longer than the 200s. I think that would be cool and just interesting to try.
That's bonkers. I said, I need to get me more. 200 is not enough for me.
No, 200 is plenty, but I don't know. I just think that would be cool to try and
Yeah,
just
those
experience.
Yeah, those races are really challenging too because I saw some videos on the TikTok and just finishing those races those are incredibly harder races to do too. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it, how you do it and
Oh,
see
thank
how you
you.
perform. And like when we run or when we start to run, the reason, the why that we call it, remains same for some and then it evolves for some. So what is your why now? Has it evolved for the from the first time that you started running?
I feel like it hasn't changed that much. Like I just have this genuine love for running. It's just such it's been a huge part of my life like since the beginning. And yeah, especially like the ultras. Like I love being out in the mountains and pushing myself and just seeing what I can do. I just think yeah, it's a really valuable experience to be out there. I don't know. I get so much fulfillment out of doing these long crazy races. Um, and just the training in general. Like I really enjoy going out there every day and enjoying the mountains. And yeah, it's cool to do a race and just see what you're capable of because we're just capable of so much more than we think. I think yeah, these races kind of I don't know of any other sport where maybe like
I
packing
don't
or
think
something.
it. I
Yeah.
don't think yeah, because I used to play ultimate frisbee, and I got injured, and then I started play. I started doing running, and then I don't want to change it. It's the feeling is different because
Yeah.
yeah, it there was the ultimate frisbee was competitive because it was 7 versus 7, and it was you had to sprint a lot, you have to jump, you have to dive. Like so, my like so all the elbows, knees were all like bruised and stuff. There was different kind of fun adrenaline, but when you run, then it is totally different because it just feels more satisfying and it's just peaceful.
Yeah.
I think yeah, it's peaceful, and that's why I don't think I can just give up and do other thing because when I don't run, it just feels so bad. And can you imagine doing elliptical or biking only? Oh god,
Oh
that's gonna
yeah,
suck.
I know, I agree. I couldn't do either. Um, yeah, I know there's something, yeah, kind of meditative about it too. And yeah, I just love it. I think it's a really cool way to experience the mountains. Like, I don't know, just finishing one of those long races. Like, I can't believe I covered all that ground just with my little feet. Like, it's so wild what we can do just with our feet. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's really special. Yeah, it's pretty simple why, just because I love it.
Looking back at now, right? So when you started running, you were that girl who beat all the boys when you were in middle school and then high school and then probably in college too. Do you think that Annie would believe that this Annie would be doing ultra marathons and running 240 milers, 200 milers and beating and setting course records and winning against all the other tough opponents who has been there? Like you have beat some legends. So do you think that Annie would have believed that you would be here right now doing all these incredible things that you have done?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I knew about ultra running. I think I first heard about it when I was in middle school. Like I heard about 100-mile races and I remember thinking like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to try to run 100 miles someday." Because I just had this feeling inside me like even as a middle schooler that I could just run forever. Like I just loved running long. So, I was excited to explore that more like as I got older. So, I think I could have seen yeah, it wouldn't have been a surprise to me from that standpoint, but yeah, definitely all this high mountain stuff. Like I grew up in Wisconsin, in the Midwest part of the United States, so it's pretty
Of
flat,
course.
like a lot of yeah, farmland. So I didn't grow up with mountains until I was a senior in high school. We moved to Colorado. And so yeah, I wouldn't have seen that coming. I mean, I didn't even know this world really existed until I moved here, like 10 years ago. So yeah, it's cool. And like, I also never thought I would be a professional runner. Like, that is something I never would have seen coming. So, would have saw coming. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
At the beginning when you're running, it was just for fun, right? So you did so many events and doing thing, but you were sponsored pretty early on, like you were talking about earlier on. Do you still feel pressure that you have to perform, or do you still run for fun and joy?
Yeah, that is something that has been hard for me, especially recently, just coming back with this injury. Like, I think that also kind of contributed to like the mental spiral I had at Canyons. Because I remember thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not having a good race, and now I'm going to lose my sponsor. So it just kind of added to the whole like mental spiral when it's like also part of your job. And yeah, it's running is a really fragile thing, and like I know this isn't forever, like running professionally. Like, I don't know how long it'll last, but yeah, I'm not really ready to give it up yet. So I do feel some pressure, like, especially this year. I felt it the most, just like after being injured all of last year. Like, I felt pressure to perform this year, and Tahoe, was good, but I feel like my other races weren't like spectacular. So and I think just the mental pressure of has been hard for me. So yeah, trying to. I mean, I just when you're out there, I always try to remind myself that like I'm doing this because I love it, and at the end of the day, like I just have to do the best I can, and yeah, I'm in this because I love it, not just because it's my job. So, but yeah, there is like some struggle with that for sure.
And so let's say like you have this opportunity, right? So hey, and you can go and pick any race you want in this whole world to run tomorrow. Which race would you pick?
Oh, I would pick the Swiss Peaks 700.
I need to tag that. I need to tag that race when this episode is out, so they see it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, FYI, the Swiss Peak. This is something about you.
Oh, they've just been so nice to me. Like they've wanted me to come back since I did it a couple of years ago, and then I got injured, and then this year I got into the Tour de Géant. So I was like, well, I have to do that because it's a big lottery, and I didn't know like when I would get another opportunity to do it. So yeah, maybe I don't know. And then next year, I feel like I should probably do Tour de Glacier since I qualified, and I think there might be a lottery for that. So if I get in, I should probably do that. But the year
The
after
year
that, I want
after,
to go back to
yeah.
Swiss Peaks.
And there are few questions left. So, what does or how do you define success? Is it like a podiums for you, the peace or purpose?
Yeah, I think purpose is a big part of it. Yeah, and just finding joy in what you're doing every day. I think like to me that is like the biggest success is just like finding like your passion and what you enjoy doing every day. Yeah, and I also just find a lot of success in just like getting the most out of yourself and like pushing yourself and seeing what you can do. I think no matter the outcome, like just knowing that you gave it your all, there's like huge success in that.
Definitely. So next is this rapid fire round. So I'll just ask you a bunch of random questions and then you just give me answer what you think of because some might be tricky. So
Okay. Sounds good.
favorite race you have ever run?
Oh, Swiss Peaks 360.
One race you will never do again.
Canyons. Canyons 100. Never doing it again.
Go to trail snack.
Oh, Tailwind.
Pre-race song or any ritual that you have?
I don't really have any rituals, but I did listen to the same two songs for like 24 hours of Swiss Peaks. So,
Which
and
songs?
for some reason, those are the only two songs that didn't really like annoy me too much and like didn't take much brain. Because if I listened to like a playlist with like all different songs on there, I think it was just too much for my brain to handle. So, like, just having the same 2 songs, like, I didn't really have to listen to it, like, it was just kind of in the background, and it didn't, like, take too much brain power to listen to different songs. So, it was, 10:35, which I can't remember
Yeah, 10:45
the
is good.
artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good
It's
pump-up
a
song.
yeah, it's a EDM for EDM.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I used to listen to EDM.
Really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It was
I do
playing
everything.
yeah,
It is
it was
nice.
playing
Yeah, go on.
yeah, it's good for running, yeah, and it was playing in the cafeteria, like, at the pasta party, like, the night before Swiss Peaks, and I was like, "Oh, this is a good song," and
Yeah.
then I put it on my playlist, and, like, that ended up being my song I like to listen to for the whole race.
I will send you a couple of songs I wrote, so maybe you like it. I don't
Oh,
know. It's
wow! Oh, you've written
I
songs, that's so
yes.
cool.
Yeah, I do write it. The album is out, so there are a bunch of running songs that I wrote. So I'll send it to you, and you can listen to it if you like it or not.
Oh, thank you so much, I would love that.
Okay. And going back to this,
So cool.
stronger trait, grit or talent?
Oh, great or talent? Oh, great.
Morning runs or sunset runs for you?
Oh, morning runs.
And this is the final question I usually ask everybody. I would like you to please finish this sentence for me. Running has changed my life because,
Oh, wow. It's changed my life in so many ways, it's hard to narrow it. I would
and
say it's changed my life just with the community it surrounded me with and just all the experiences I've gotten to have, like the places I've gotten to see and all the things that I've learned about myself because of it.
I don't send this question to everybody, but I just ask it. So usually I send questions, so I didn't send any questions to you, so I'm sorry about that. But this was a good
Oh, that's okay.
conversation. I think we talked a lot about you and your racing career and journey, and it is inspiring because you just didn't run any marathon and went directly to 55K, which is insane.
Oh, thank you.
And it
Thank you
was
so much for having me.
yeah, no worries, and it was just nice to talk to you and learn about you and how you do it in the race. And the only way forward, the only way through is forward. So that is the lesson from this episode for me, is to learn that one thing that you just told me. And I'm sure like when folks listen to it and they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, you have done some awesome races that you can say. And it's there are not a lot of people who say, oh, I did this kind of races, and you have done and you have crossed it and won it. So yeah, thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to your journey and when you do the Swiss Peak next and to the glaciers next year. So keeping my eyes on it.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And good luck with all of your running. I'm excited to
Yeah,
see yeah, you
yeah,
progress into more mountainous races. That'll be so cool.
yeah. It is. I like it, and I'm doing a organizing a Beckett Ultra here in November
Oh my
15th. So
gosh.
yeah, I
Oh,
it
that's
is
amazing.
it is fun. I liked, and I talked with Levi Yoder, and he was the one who gave me this idea to do the Beckett Ultra, and it's such an interesting conversation. The topic about Beckett Ultra, and it sounds so challenging because you do a loop and then you come back, you talk, do whatever, and then you go back again. And so there is a little bit of interest. I think 17 people have signed up so far for the Beckett Ultra. So this should be
Gosh,
a
that is
nice
so
another.
cool.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited. I don't know how long I can go, but after this DNF, I am I'm hoping I can do at least a marathon distance. So that is the goal. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Well, that's a
I
good
can
thing
do it.
about backyard. It's like there's no such thing as DNF. You just go as long as you can.
Yeah. Yes, that's why it is nice too. So even I'm not able to run a lot, so hopefully I can. I wanted to do 80K, but I don't know. After last DNF, it has totally screwed up my mindset because I don't think I can run anymore. I have this doubt now, and I need to get over that fact, and I'll see how I do. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens on that race.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I hope it's a great race for you and just that you enjoyed the whole adventure and experience.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. I'm just hoping to have fun. I think that is the main reason why we all
Yeah.
run. So I think going back to the root is, I think we all need to have fun.
Oh, for sure. And it'll be a great atmosphere, just with, all the community around, all pushing themselves too. I think that makes a big difference too.
Yep. And there are a few people who are going for 100K, I think. So this would be a nice conversation just to cheer and be the part of the community too, which
Yeah.
usually don't happen in a marathon where you just run and you just don't know anybody. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. So it's going to be a nice one. And
Oh, that'll be
yeah,
so
and
cool.
yeah, and thanks so much for your time. And I know
Oh,
it's
yeah.
morning there, so you can go on with the day. And I'll send you the songs.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you, Ash.
Yeah, same here. And have a good rest of the day.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, thank you for making it to the end of the podcast. I hope you really enjoyed this conversation. I'll see you again next time with another guest. Until then, happy running.